everybody, welcome to what is probably our last episode of Shelter in Place Science. So I thought I'd film the last one just kind of outside with a kind of a slightly different background. So today's pretty simple. I'm going to explain what is assignment number 4 in Google Classroom and walk you through how to complete that assignment. And then I'm also going to show you the SignUpGenius, which you're going to use to sign up for your end of the year chat. I've used the SignUpGenius because it's a little bit easier for you guys to kind of see how the sign up schedule works. So those are the two things I'm going to explain in this video. The first is how to do part 4 of your human impact project. It's pretty short. There's only 3 questions that go with it. It's where you're going to explain how you're going to monitor or how you're going to collect and interpret data about your topic. And then the second part is using the SignUpGenius in order to determine what date and what time you're going to meet with me to talk about your human impact project. So here is the last part of your human impact project, step 4, monitoring the plan. If you'll notice, it's just 1, 2, 3 questions. That's it. That's it. And all of them have sentence frames to help you get started. So we're going to take a look at what you need to do. So number 1, it asks, how are you going to collect and interpret data so that you know if your proposed plan is successful? How will you monitor your plan to determine if it is stopping or reducing your human impact, right? And this is also a little note here. You can always go back to the lessons I did about conservation successes and failures because they both had ways that the conservation programs were monitored, right? If you're going to do something, you have to collect and interpret data to prove that it's working. So I'm going to use the same human impact that I used in the video on Tuesday. So once my procedure is in place, I will need to monitor if my proposal is successful in minimizing the extinction of the California condor, right? Because that's the one that I am going to use. Then it says, so again, the first thing you do is fill in the title of your topic, right? Whether it's the Pacific garbage patch or it's air pollution, whatever it is. Data will be collected by attaching GPS trackers and number tags to release condors and having staff daily monitor, daily monitor the wild population. Park rangers or other volunteers will walk release site areas with radio telemetry devices daily to track and site condors. GPS receiver stations will also be permanently installed at each release site to collect data when condors pass the station. In the captive breeding program, closed-circuit cameras will be used to monitor chicks and adults, and all birds will be weighed, measured, and tagged yearly to track growth. Right? So just make sure, as I've done here, I've explained all the different parts, right? Because there's the part about the condors who go back into the wild. We want to monitor the wild condors. And then I also talked about how we monitor the condors while they're in the captive breeding program. So again, this is probably going to be a 2 to 3 sentence answer. This should not be 1 sentence, right? It should be 2 to 3 sentences where you're explaining how you're going to monitor the situation. All right, so question number 2. This asks, what goal do you have for your plan? How much do you want to minimize your human impact? So first of all, please make sure goals should be realistic, right? We're not going to be able to 100% solve the problem. So you should think about what kind of percentage reduction do you want to see, or maybe what's the population size you want to reach. Okay, so my goal is 2. So again, this is where you might say reduce the amount of plastic in the Pacific garbage patch by 20%. Or my goal is to reduce the number of people who die from air pollution. In my case, for the condors, what I'm going to say is my goal is to increase the number of California condors in the wild to 200 individuals by 2030. I would also like to see 10% fewer condor deaths resulting from lead poisoning. So again, I kind of actually gave 2 goals there. I have a goal about population size. Notice that I gave like a time frame. A goal is really good when you have a time frame. And then I also talked about a percentage reduction of fewer condor deaths. So number 3 asks, why will your plan be successful compared to someone else who's working on the same topic? This is your last chance to argue why your proposal should be funded. Okay, so it says my plan to minimize. So again, I'm going to delete the line and I'm going to type in my topic, which for my example is the California condor. My plan to minimize extinction of the California condor will be successful because, and again, I'm going to want to give 2 to 3 sentences here to really argue and explain why my idea is the best. Here's what I'm going to put. Because my procedure is based on previous work done with Andean condors and involves input from experts from zoos and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. By coordinating with experts from a variety of fields, I am ensuring that my plan has the greatest chance for success. If California condors were left in the wild and not captured for captive breeding, they would be extinct by now given how slowly they reproduce. By using the double clutch technique to make each breeding pair produce 2 eggs instead of 1, we have doubled the condor's chances of recovery. The proposal should receive funding because California condors play an important role in their ecosystem as scavengers, helping to break down dead organisms and return nutrients to non-living parts of their environment. So notice, I have talked about how I based my program off of other research. I've talked about, who I have involved with the plan. I've talked about one of the techniques I've used, which was the double clutch technique. And at the very end here, I explained about why the California condor is important in its ecosystem. So again, when you're arguing why you should be funded, you should definitely be talking about how does your idea relate to things that are already being done, right? Why is that animal, or why is that air or that water, why is it important for our ecosystems or our planet? So those are examples of how you would fill this out. So again, you only have 3 questions to fill out for monitoring the plan. After you've finished this and you've hit the Turn It In button, the last part you're going to want to do is to sign up for your end of the year chat with me. There's a link in Google Classroom that'll take you here. It's called SignUpGenius, and it says Human Impact Grant Proposal Closing Chat. And so basically what you'll see the date. So we have 6/2, so that's Tuesday, June 2nd. We have Wednesday, June 3rd, and we have Thursday, June 4th. These were our final exam days. And then you'll see that there are a number of time slots. I've put each of them for 20 minutes, but our talk may not go for 20 minutes. It might be over in 15. So you can kind of choose based on your schedule and what's going on with your family about which time works for you. I pretty much have a bunch of slots in the morning, and then I only have a couple of afternoon slots. I'm sorry, but I do have some afternoon school meetings with other Hoover staff, so I'm just not available in the afternoon as much as I am in the morning. So once you figure out a time and a date, what you'll do, let's say, oh, I like Tuesday, June 2nd at 11:30. So you're going to click the little thing where it says sign up. And notice that 4 students can sign up for a slot at the same time. So that way, I can have multiple people at once. So you hit the little check marks and then you hit submit and sign up. And then we'll take you a different page, and it'll show you what you're signing up for. You'll get something that looks like this. So you'll type in your first name, last name. I'm pretty sure you can leave your email blank, or you can just type in S and your ID number at sjusd.org. I'm going to double check in the settings that you don't need to have an email to sign up. So you shouldn't need to fill in that email thing, right? That's not necessary. Okay, so that's how you're going to do that. And then that will allow you to sign up for your time to chat with me about your project. Make sure to finish part 4 of your human impact project, and then either before or after you do that, make sure to visit the SignUpGenius and decide on what time you're going to chat with me and with some other students about your project. So again, once this starts getting filled in, over here where it says sign up, it'll also start to display the names of students who've already signed up. So, if you want to particularly, hear from another one of your fellow classmates, you can purposely choose their time slot. Okay, so be sure to check that out today, please.